Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to Joe Stunner Boxing. Um, as good as Ryan Garcia was last night against Devin Haney, I think a question needs to be asked: why was Haney so bad? Now, if you clicked on this video expecting comprehensive answers, you're probably not going to get any, because the short answer is I don't know. But of course, we can speculate, and it was particularly sort of stunning, really, to see Haney almost with a complete inability to defend against the left hook. The left hook being Ryan's pet punch. Now, you would have thought going in that Bill Haney and Devon would have thought, okay, that's his danger punch. He's got real power, this kid. They'd fought each other 6 times in the amateurs. I know it was a long, long time ago, but they must have had some idea about styles. They must have surely looked at footage. And yet, from the first 20 or 30 seconds, I mean, there was that left hook that landed from Ryan, which fortunately for Haney caught him on the cheek and not the jaw. Because if it had caught him on the jaw, God knows what would have happened. He might have been knocked out in the first 30 seconds. But there just seemed to be a lack of nous for all Devon's sort of technical ability when it came to defending against the left hook. Now, it wasn't all left hook from Ryan, because he was firing some very good right crosses and some hooks, some right, through the odd right hook. And he's a conventional fighter, conventional orthodox stance. But I wonder if this is a sort of conglomeration of different things. So, for example, of course, we know about Ryan's antics leading up to the fight, the fact that he came across as being mentally totally unstable. I did a video previously saying that it's possible he does have issues. I don't know what, because I've never met the kid. I wish him nothing but the very best. You know, I'm not wishing him any ill will, but he could still have mental problems or emotional problems. It doesn't necessarily mean that just because you've gone into a ring and surprised everyone and performed brilliantly, or certainly got a brilliant result, because Ryan isn't a flawless fighter, but he did his bit in there and he looked great. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're mentally okay. So I think with all those antics, perhaps Haney thought, well, this guy's not as much of a threat as he was. That may have been a subconscious thing, thinking that. The fact that he did get tagged with the left hook so early and badly staggered, regardless of what he says and regardless of what Bill Haney says, that was a huge alarm bell that they would have heard. And when that happens, well, at any point of a fight, but certainly that early, it's inevitably going to make you a little bit reticent to be as cavalier as you'd like to be. It did take Devon, well, actually didn't take him that long. I mean, in the second round, I actually gave him the second round. He was beginning to find his rhythm with the jab. Devon is an extremely technical fighter. He's very, very good technically, extremely good. And he was, beginning to control the range. But there was always that danger. And it was very noticeable that the right hand was hanging a little bit low at times. Sometimes he seemed to feel he was out of range, or maybe on the periphery of the range. And Ryan, with his speed and his explosiveness, was able to spring forward and land hurtful punches, because clearly he had the heavier hands. There was only one occasion when Devon landed, I think that was with the left hook as well, on Ryan, and Ryan sort of momentarily staggered back, but then he banged his gloves together and said, yeah, all right, you want a bit, come on in. He was up for this fight big time, Ryan, absolutely. Totally concentrated, totally on it. Now, it may have also been that Devon trying to get the range, trying to control everything with the jab, trying to hang everything off the jab. He was sort of lulled at times into a sense of security, because Ryan, the way he fights, he is explosive in pockets, but he tends to there tends to be very large lulls, maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds even of a round, where he virtually does nothing, where he's on the back foot, and he looked very relaxed in there. He had his hands, relatively sort of loose, and there were plenty of gaps that Devon could see. But of course, if the power is there and that you can be stung with just a single punch, you're a little bit reluctant, a little bit cautious to get in there, to be too cavalier. And I think that certainly throughout the fight, throughout most of the fight, it was Ryan who looked, the more relaxed. Well, again, very surprising to me. I mean, I thought Devin would stop Ryan. I was completely wrong about the outcome of this fight, 100%, like a lot of you lot, But I do think that Devin was from the word go, from that opening wallop, and certainly from the 7th round when the first knockdown happened, he never recovered from that. But I think he was quite coiled, whereas Ryan appeared to have that, crazy like a fox, devil may care sort of attitude. And that may have been something else that occurred to Ryan. This guy was behaving crazy, and I thought it would be to his detriment. In actual fact, it's to his advantage, because he's somehow able to, flow when he needs to. That there's some fluid punches going on. The speed is there, the power is there. I wasn't expecting any of this. So even when Devin was at times, say from rounds, for example, because there were a couple of bits in the fight where this happened, but from rounds about 2 to 5 maybe, where he was finding his rhythm and able to get some work done, even though it was rather cautious, sort of conservative work. Nevertheless, he looked like, he was walking on eggshells. I've got to watch this. I've got to watch this guy. He was almost, I don't mean this is probably isn't the right word, but he was almost trying to fake it. Do you know what I mean? He was going through the technique, going through what they planned, trying to get back on the game plan, but he wasn't 100% sure of what he was doing anymore, because he'd felt the power early. And certainly after the first knockdown, I think in the 7th round with the first knockdown, I think Haney deserves a lot of credit for hanging in there, for actually getting up, because when he hit the floor, he looked in a state, and when he got up, his legs were rubber, and he was very lucky that Ryan didn't stop him. Well, not lucky, that's the wrong word. He fought great. He showed a lot. Haney showed a lot of guts in there. His tactics seemed to be off. He seemed to have underrated Ryan. He seemed to have sort of lost his way from the moment the opening bell went. He described it afterwards as being asleep. He caught me when I was asleep. What the hell are you asleep for? You shouldn't be asleep. Not against a guy who can hit like that, who's fast. Not in a case where you're defending your world title. You shouldn't be asleep, not even for a second. And if you were asleep, you must have been asleep for different periods of the fight, because you hit the floor 3 times, and you were shaken badly on other occasions, and your nose was bloodied, and there was blood coming out of your mouth. It was. What do we say? Do we say this was a poor performance by Haney? Do we say it was a brilliant one by Garcia? Do we say both those things, or is the truth, as is often the case in life, somewhere in the middle? It just seemed that, to me, the speed, and also let's not forget the speed of foot from Ryan Garcia as well, not just the fists, because he was actually drawing Haney in and trying to make Haney the aggressor for long periods of the fight, and that's not what Haney likes. Haney can be offensive, but again, it's in a very controlled, technical, sort of textbook way. When you've got some guy in there who won't throw a punch for 20 or 30 seconds, then suddenly explodes with this power that is clearly shaking you, that's a very difficult thing. Those are choppy waters to navigate your way through. It's a very difficult thing to deal with. So is Haney as bad as he looked on Saturday night? Was he overrated? Was it just a bad day at the office, which happens, absolutely happens? Don't forget, Joe Lewis got knocked out by Max Schmeling before he was even champion, and then came back to rule the roost for over a decade, 25 defences or whatever it was. It can happen. You can have a disaster. Maybe Ryan's got Devin's number. I don't know. You tell me. Tell me what you think. Tell me why you think it just didn't work out for Devin Haney. How much credit do you give Ryan? How much of the blame do you put on Devin? Is it a mixture of both? I think it probably is a mixture of both. But there's no doubt that Garcia was very, very good in this fight. He looked very, very good. You can still see the flaws with Ryan, even against Devin. You could see that he wasn't entirely, technically he's I wouldn't say he's limited, but there are cracks there, cracks in the pavement there, and you could tell that what he had was not allowing Devin to do what he knew he could do and what he should do to win the fight. Maybe Devin thought he was going to stop Ryan, and he lost his way because he had that in his mind. But it was a disaster for Devin Haney, and I'd like to hear your opinions. What do you think? You know, give me your comments below. I want to hear things that hadn't occurred to me. That's why I enjoy reading the comments, because very often some of you will say something and I'll think, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That's a good point. Or because only if you play devil's advocate and you are objective can you realise, you know, where you've gone wrong. Because I predicted that Devin would win this fight, like most of you. But, you know, we have to hold our hands up sometimes. But let me hear your opinions, and I will answer them below, as many as I can. And please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you like the video, please like it. We want to spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing and build up the channel. But yeah, not a bad fight, was it? Really, really good. I'll looking forward to reading your comments, and I will catch you all later. Bye for now.